Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Um, I received a story today that really got my attention. It came from a school that I know and respect very, very much, Urban Prep Academy. Urban Prep is a school in Chicago that has just done some amazing things. From what I understand, their college attendance rate is 100% most years. And they get these students into is they're in one of the most difficult city in terms of some of the things that community goes through. Inglewood, that's the community, but actually it's a community on the rise in my opinion because you've got some amazing things there, amazing things happening there. I know Mark Harrison, for example. Or is it Mark Harris? I hope I didn't say it wrong. But he made some really great movies like Black Coffee. He holds the Inglewood Film Festival every year. He also his latest movie was called Stock Options, I believe, and it was on TV One. So he's right out of Inglewood. So you got a lot of greatness in that community, and urban prep is among that tradition that is strong and growing. So don't let the Chirac kind of image fool you because there are a lot of bright spots in that community. Now, here's what I saw. I saw this interesting story where it looks like the students at Urban Prep gave Mayor Rahm Emanuel some hell when he came through. Basically, Emanuel came in, and I think he's still trying to make things right with the black community after the shooting of Laquan McDonald, which he was shot 16 times, 17-year-old kid. And a lot of people are mad about this. I know I'm mad about this. I know that the mayor should not just resign, but actually they should file charges against everybody who participated in this conspiracy, in this ongoing criminal enterprise. I know a person personally who got 14 life sentences where his entire family was sent to prison because he was dealing drugs. They never caught him with any drugs nor any violence, but he's been in prison since 1988, I believe. And so my thought is if he's been in prison since 1988 for running an ongoing criminal enterprise and this conspiracy, then I just don't understand how it's not a conspiracy when the murder of this kid was covered up so much over the course of that year. In fact, it all happened right in the middle of a very close election. If this had been released when it was supposed to be released, Emmanuel would not even be in office right now because people would have found out. So they covered it up to fool black people into giving him their votes. And you had a lot of Negroes voting for this guy. And I've never liked him. I never trusted him. But then again, though, maybe I'm just a crazy one. I don't know. But at any rate, so I saw this story, and I saw with these kids when Emmanuel came to the school, and I guess he's trying to smooth things over. He came there and gave the speech. I'm sure he wasn't entirely comfortable, but these politicians are good at lying. They like to lie, so he went in there and did his best. And these young men, not all of them, but a significant fraction of these men spoke up and they started chanting 16 shots over and over and over again. They were ignoring him. They were disrupting the event and they were taken out of the event. And as they were being taken out, they continued to yell 16 shots. And what I really saw, which to me was just beautiful. I think it's an amazing thing. I saw 16, 17-year-old black men identifying with the 16, 17-year-old brother who was murdered a year ago, 17. Laquan was 17, the same age as the guys in urban prep. And so what is beautiful about this is that it gets us away from this model of elite Negro detachment that has been used to divide and conquer black people for the last X hundreds of years, ever since slavery. House Negro, field Negro kind of divide. Here you've got Inglewood, this school in Inglewood where you've got people that are in the middle of these really difficult circumstances. Many of them have friends who've been murdered. Many of them have friends who either went to prison or will go to prison, things like that. But at the same time, they're also going to be next to millionaires one day. They're going to be working in corporate offices and maybe move to, fancy neighborhoods and whatever it is that they choose to do. And so you end up torn between the two. And what you're encouraged to do in this society is you're encouraged to leave it all behind. You've heard for so long, you hear people always say, it was always my dream to get me and my mama out of the hood. And so people are starting to question that. Why are you trying to abandon the hood? Why are you trying to leave your community? Mark Harris, he's a successful filmmaker. His films have made millions of dollars, but he didn't leave the hood. He's going back to repair the hood, to help own the hood, to reclaim the hood. So leaving the hood, whether it's economically or socially or psychologically or physiologically, whatever you want to call it, physically, I don't know if leaving the hood is the best approach for anybody who wants to be quote unquote successful. Because here's what happens when you're black and you detach from your community: you lose your power base. You end up going into these other places where you're the only black person in the corporate office, the only black person in your neighborhood, the only black person who's dealing with certain political and economic situations or whatever, dealing with these negotiations, dealing with that university or whatever it is that you're doing. You end up being the only black person, which ultimately leaves you kind of vulnerable. You end up being the Negro being hung out to dry. And so, anyway, so I'm making more of this maybe than what it is. But what I'm really seeing here, and I hope people can understand when I reference the symbolism of this, it's much bigger than just teenagers identifying with another teenager. It is black people poised to be among the elite, identifying with what's going on in the street. It's brothers at all levels of society who are destined to go on and become CEOs and presidents of whatever, connecting with this young guy who will never get a chance to go to urban prep. He will never get a chance to go to college. From what I've gathered, I don't know if he was on that track to begin with. I think he might have been a little troubled, but they can still understand that he was still a redeemable soul, that he was still a worthy human being. And that to me lies in contrast to what we're told in America, which is that, oh, you need to leave them Negroes alone. Like, don't worry about him. Oh, he caused it. He brought it on himself or whatever. Because you got people that will just overlook death, the death of a young black man, especially, or a poor young black man, who will overlook death in exchange for political access and power. They will overlook death in exchange for a big donation from the mayor's office. Because believe me, they're rolling through, always paying off Negroes every year, every time there's an election, every time there's a controversy like this. Believe me, I'm sure they're writing big checks to the administrators of different programs and stuff like that. Right? They're on the apology tour because they're hoping that you're gonna forget about Laquan McDonald's death, not send Rahm Emanuel to prison, not ask for his resignation because you got a nice check. And that's the thing. When people are struggling economically, it's easy to buy them off, especially the leadership. And what I love about young people, though, and this is the funny thing, this is an up and a down, is that young people are they have a purity of purpose that older people don't have. So you might have that 45, 50-year-old administrator who says, yeah, it was bad what they did to that young guy, but we need another 20,000 for the building fund, and the mayor wrote a check to the church, or the mayor's going to help us with the school, help us get access to the governor's office, blah blah blah. But you got the 17-year-old who says, no, right is right and wrong is wrong. Sometimes, they have that saying, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Well, sometimes you got to just keep it simple. You got to just focus on right and wrong and stop getting into the complexities that are brought into the situation when you bring in all these relationships and political issues and stuff like that. Because if you get too caught up in the politics of something, you will literally get to the point where you think up is down and down is up and that green is blue and that purple is white. You literally will come to those conclusions because you've allowed yourself to become so inundated with the political operation or all around you that you've lost your basic sense of right and wrong. And so I love what these guys did. I don't know how anybody. I met Tim King, or I think it's Tim King, the founder, or maybe it's Tim Cook, the founder of Urban Prep Academy. He's a nice guy, and I don't know how he feels about this. I know that they escorted the young men out of the building, and I don't know if that was just they were pretending that they were appalled by it, or if they actually were okay with this. I have no clue what their position is, but I'm sure that that they're kind of rattled by this idea of young black men in this sort of privileged position. These young black men who've been connected with the political elite kind of saying, no, you're not going to buy us off. Because you got a whole lot of elite black people who will never speak up for a struggling young black man in the street. And so I just thought it was great. I really felt like it was great. I don't know what the fallout's going to be, but I think it was awesome. So I just want to, if any of the parents of those young men are watching this video right now, I want to say that I congratulate you for raising a child who is conscientious enough to know that there are some things that are more important than money, that human life should trump everything, and that when it comes to what's happening to our young men in the street, that it's up to those of us who get to go to college, who get to make money, who get to be successful, to not get out of the hood, but to reconnect the hood, to elevate the hood, to protect the hood, to strengthen the hood. That's what you want to do. And the way you strengthen the hood is, the first things first, you let oppressors know that they can't buy you off with a chicken dinner. Or even something better than a chicken dinner. You stand up, so you disrupt. And I think the audacity of this mayor trying to go to a school full of black men, full of young black men, after he just covered up the murder of a young black man, is just beyond me. But it really almost reflects the lack of respect that these people have for black people. They're used to black people falling for stupid shit. They're used to us falling for the okie doke. They're used to us being bought off for almost nothing. So I really think that this is what played a part in him thinking I could just walk up in this school and talk people out of seeing what they know they all just saw. So, I don't know what it's going to take to make this right. I really don't think it can ever be made right with Rahm Emanuel in office. And really, I think it can't be made right without Rahm Emanuel and his crew being prosecuted. But Chicago is a very corrupt city, which creates even more political complexities. And I don't know how it's going to all pan out. But I just want to say that the guys at Urban Prep, I feel like that what they did was truly heroic, truly impactful. It was in the tradition of Martin Luther King. And if you think about Martin Luther King, what's special about Dr. King was not the fact that he was similar to these boys at Urban Prep. He was a great student. He was on his way to the top. He could have made plenty of money. He was going to be a scholar. He was doing all these things these young men at Urban Prep are doing. But the thing that made Dr. King special is that Dr. King knew that his success was not just his own. He also knew that disrupting and having some people dislike you, having some people get mad at you, being thrown out of some stuff, maybe being put in jail, was necessary for you to do what's right. Because sometimes when you get kind of in that elite Negro status where you're getting all these scholarship offers and everybody's trying to pay you a whole lot of money, they convince you to kind of let things slide. And then what happens is you get older and you can't sleep at night because you realize that even though you made a little bit of money and had a little bit of so-called success, you sold your soul in the process. And then you start to question things and realize you've been doing the wrong thing all along because you let other people tell you what kind of man to become. So don't let other people tell you what kind of man to become. A smart man, a successful man, all these other things, that's nice, but it means nothing. It means nothing if you let people buy your integrity and sell you up the river. So that's all I really want to say. I didn't mean to be long-winded, but I just had to congratulate these brothers at Urban Prep. I think it's awesome. And I say keep going, keep moving, keep making a difference. That's what makes you special to me. I don't care a whole lot about people making good grades per se or having a little bit of money. That's all nice, but it means nothing if you sold your soul in the process. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Please take care. God bless and have a great day. Bye-bye.